Hello, welcome to this second video in which we'll be talking about purchase orders, passive voice, and making requests. This video is divided as the other one. Uh, you will be presented with purchase orders and passive voice first, and then I continue with making requests. Well, as you can see in purchase orders, I divided all the vocabulary into three different sections. The first one is nouns and adjectives, the second one is verbs, and the third one is useful phrases and expressions. As regards nouns and adjectives, here I included the list of the words that I consider important. In stock, that is an adjective, added value, the goods that are the products or the services that you want, the order itself. Whenever you purchase, you have an order. The shipment, that is when the company sends the products or the goods to you. The inquiry, when a client or a customer asks you for something. Invoice, the delivery. The seller, that is the person or a company who wants to buy, who sells something. And then you have again, client, customer, there are words that I've just told you. And finally, the benchmark. Here, I also added a note saying that please, for more information, look at the links in the final recommendations, where I also included, this link that will guide you to a lot of more vocabulary. Then we have purchase orders, the verbs. Um, you have two main verbs when it comes to buying. The first one is purchase, and the other one is buy. Yeah, process, order, call for tenders, negotiate, qualify, supply, add value, and deliver. Finally, when it comes to useful phrases and expressions, to place an order, you can say, we would like to place an order for blim, blim, blim. Imagine that you're working at a company and your boss comes and he tells you or she tells you, hey, I need you to place an order. Well, you can ask for the product to a different company, and here these phrases are going to be very useful for you. We intend to buy, you can include the quantity and the products. We will be needing the quantity and the products. When I talk about quantity, I'm telling you the number 1, 2, 3. We are interested in requesting. That is very formal, but it works anyway. Then the company that receives your inquiry or your email asking for something will reply, and they will tell you your order will be processed as quickly as possible. I mean, they are confirming and accepting your purchase order. Your order is being processed, and we expect to have the order ready for shipment before, I don't know, next Monday. Or they will tell you Monday, February 15. I mean, they will give you a date if it is a serious company, of course. We hereby confirm your order. Your goods will be dispatched within the amount of time, of needed time. Of course, sometimes you can make a mistake whenever you want to purchase something. So sometimes you need to change the details of a purchase order. Or sometimes plans are not as at the very beginning because, I don't know, more people are coming to a meeting or because things happen in a company. So you have to change things. Here there are different ways to ask for it. The first one, would it be possible to reduce or to or increase our order from, and you have to include the initial quantity, to the new desired quantity. So would it be possible to delay the order until you postpone it? Yes. And then, unfortunately, we must inform you that we are not able to deliver the goods until um, a certain date for the customer. Finally, I am going to include phrases that are for canceling a purchase order. This has to be very formal. You need to pay attention here to the fact that you don't want to lose your client. So, of course, you need to be sorry and you need to sound sorry. Yeah. We are sorry to inform that we have to place our order elsewhere. We are forced to cancel our order due to the problem that you may have. This one is very good. We are forced to cancel. I mean, this has nothing to do with our company or the shipment. It is because there are other reasons. Yeah. Unfortunately, these articles are no longer available when you are out of stock. Yeah. Well, now I'm going to talk about the passive voice. That is the following topic. This is important because the passive voice changes the focus of a normal sentence. You should remember that in English, we have subject, verb, and object in a normal way. Subject, verb, and object. Well, of course, because the doer of the action, the person or the thing that performs the action is important. But sometimes what we do is to change the focus. Instead of paying attention to the subject, we'll pay attention to the object. Okay? Remember that the object will be the answer to the question what we can ask the verb. So, for example, she made a cake. What did she make? A cake. Okay? That is a direct object. So we will place it at the very beginning in a passive voice structure or sentence. So, as you can see, I have just told you the normal structure of a sentence. You have the subject, the doer of the action, then you have the verb, and then you have the object. Yes. And finally, you have the complement. Remember that the complement is all that complementing information, like, for example, place, time, reason. Okay. And as you can see here, I also added some colors for you to pay attention to this. So you have the subject in orange, then you have the verb yellow, you have the object green, and last but not least, this is like a kind of violet, I think, purple. Then let's go to the structure of a sentence in passive voice, because this is what we want to study. So can you see that here I included the original sentence? My best friend did homework last night. Okay? So first of all, locate the direct object, homework. And as you can see, you write it first. Number two, check if the sentence is in the present or in the past. Okay? If it is in the present, you will use the verb to be is, are, or am plus the past participle. The past participle is this same verb, but in third column. Do you remember that in the list of verbs, you have first column for the present, second column for the past, and the third column is the one that you use for the present perfect. So that's the one that you have to use here too. Then you have to pay attention to this because the subject turns into the doer of the action, my best friend in this case, and you have to use the word by if the person is important. Yeah, sometimes there are some discoveries that are important for humanity. So, of course, you need to name who made that discovery, but not always. So, it is up to you to know whether to include the doer of the action or not. And in case you do it, in case you want to include the doer of the action, you have to use the word by. And last but not least, you will include the complement. Remember that the complements will always go at the end of the sentence. Yes, first the place and then the time. That is the normal way in which you do it. So as you can see here, I also included affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences. And in the case of affirmative sentences with the passive voice, you have the subject, that will be your direct object. You have is, are, or am, plus the past participle. And finally, the complement. And remember that you can always include by. with the doer of the action. In case it is in the past, you have to change is, are, or am by was aware. When you want to make a negation, remember to include the word not. Okay, so you will say is not, are not, am not, plus the third column or the past participle. Then you have the complements. Remember that could be the time, the place, and you have the agent. Okay, when we this is like the formal way in which we can call the doer of the action or the person who performed the action. Yeah. And then in the past, you can negate by saying was not or were not. And you have exactly the same structure. So the only thing that varies or that does vary is how you will use the verb to be. In the present, is, are, am, and in the past, was, were. In the negations, is not, are not, am not, and then was not or were not. And finally, of course, you've got the questions. The questions are very important too. Everything is important today. So you have is, are, am, plus the subject, plus the verb in past participle. Remember that the subject in a passive voice construction will always be the direct object of the original sentence. And then in the questions, you have the was aware at the very beginning, you have the subject, and then you have the verb in the past participle. Well, this is the end of the first video. Thank you very much.